Hello everyone, this is a video that is greatly important for your financial success, not just as a new goddess, but if you are a woke person watching me and you don't just want to die a cock slave and a financial wage slave, I think it's important to know those terms and to understand them because it can greatly determine how much money you're going to make in your life. And even worse, you could be one of the Cashcows I'm going to be talking about right now in this video, and you may not even know it. And it's not your fault, but the good news are that you can stop being a Cashcow once you realize what's going on and turn your life around. First of all, what's a Cashcow and why I call them this way? By Cashcows, I refer to all the people who live their lives sleepwalking and just blindly following whatever they have been told since their young and teenage years without actually taking a moment to examine if that's true or not. And although there is lots of evidence pointing out that their life is taking a very destructive path, they have this magical way, and I say magical because most of the Cashcows are ESFJs, and as an INTJ can never understand them, they have a magical way to block out all the evidence and focus on the feelings, which is the way to be a loser in life. Cashcows are mostly, like I said, ESFJ and people who are feelers. The difference between a feeler and a thinker, the main one, from a practical standpoint, is that a thinker actually tries to use their critical brain to make a decision, while a feeler doesn't think and they just respond to how you make them feel, which makes them extremely susceptible to manipulation. Cashcows spend their lives following the life script, which means that when you went to school and you had loser counselors, or even worse, losers, unwoke parents, they told you this is how you're going to be successful in life. You're going to grow up, go to college, get married, have 2 kids, have a job, have a second job to pay for the 2 kids and all of the other things, get an expensive house, get an expensive car, and then you're going to save up money for your retirement. And once this happens, at 65, you're going to live like a king. It's going to be awesome. Of course, it doesn't happen this way, okay? Just look around you, people who try to follow up to this life script, and most of them, they are full of illnesses, both mental and physical, in their 60s. They are overworked, they have debt up to their eyeballs, and they're desperate. So before we start, something that I read when I was a teenager, and it shocked me because I was always asking questions ever since I was like 15 or 16 because things didn't seem to add up, is especially when it comes to Americans, the big house, the American dream with a big house with a white fence. This was originally sponsored by the American banking system because they tried to brainwash people that this is what they need, because when you're taking a loan from the bank for 25 years or 30 years, there is a pretty high chance you're going to have illnesses, deaths, you're going to be fired during that time, and you're not going to be able to pay it off. So you're going to end up either losing your house or paying a lot more than what you initially borrowed from them. But okay, I don't want to get into banking systems and make things too complicated. Let's stay on the present. Cashcows are people that they do things from the life script to impress others. And to make things specific, I'm going to mention the biggest real-life Cashcow I know, my hopefully ex-sister-in-law, the human cockroach, who is the epitome of a Cashcow. This woman has a student loan of $40,000, according to her, that she's trying to pay for the last 20 years because she's now in her 40s unsuccessfully. And you could say that when someone has such a crippling debt and such a shitty-ass credit score, the logical thing to do would be every money that you get that they are more than what you expect, or you get them from some other source, you are going to use them to pay off your debt, right? So what does this genius woman do? She meets this white closeted gay dude that is her husband, and she decides to have a Disney wedding. What's a Disney wedding? It's a wedding in Disney because she's a 40-something-year-old Disney princess. I say this and my skin crawl that I'm connected to these people. That wedding, the cost of this wedding is $12,000. And is all being paid by my ex-mother-in-law because she's also a financial genius. So she's paying $12,000 for a wedding that is pretty much one day, that happens in a Disney castle or something, and That's it. After that big day, you get to be the Disney princess for one day, and then you have the $40,000 debt for the rest of your life. So why does someone take such stupid decisions, you would ask now? Because there is huge brainwashing from the media, and people think that it's really cool if you impress others on Facebook. You should keep up with what the neighbors are doing. You should give the impression of wealth even though you have no wealth, and so on. Another Cashcow example is my ex-father-in-law, that he is driving a BMW when he has a dry cleaners. He used to have a dry cleaners, now he has a bankrupt bakery. I believe that you shouldn't spend money to buy something unless you have money to buy 10 of them, which means if you have $100,000 in the bank, your car shouldn't be more than $10,000. If you are broke and you have a $50,000 BMW car and you think you are fooling anyone, you just have brain embolism, because truly rich people and truly woke people, when it comes to finances, they're going to see right off the get-go that there is something wrong with you. So why are we talking about those cash cows? First of all, if you are a cash cow right now, it's time to stop, because your life is literally at some other person's hands or some corporation hands, and you're in a pretty shitty situation. What do I mean? People say a good job is the road to financial success. Let me tell you, no one ever became rich by working a job, unless he was the CEO of the job. When you're going into your job every day, you get a lot of work done and you get paid a small part of what you actually make for them. And the job can be taken away any moment, which means if you get fired, how are you going to make it? They say that 80% of people that they are unemployed manage to find a job within 6 months of the time they got fired. So this means you need to have a minimum of 6 months worth of expenses in your bank account. Like, let's say you calculate it and you find out you need $2,000 a month to survive. You need to have $12,000 minimum in your bank account in cash. Otherwise, I don't know what's going to happen to you. You're going to end up homeless, or you're going to end up burdening yourself with living with abusers. Like I would go back to my parents. Personally, I would rather shoot myself in the head and go back to my parents because they're crazy. If, even worse, you have a job and you live paycheck to paycheck, it's time to have multiple sources of income. Working 3 jobs isn't the way to get ahead in life, at least not permanently. The only reason why I would agree on someone working 3 jobs is that if they want to save up cash to invest on something else fast. And there is no virtue in being a wage slave. I see people doing all kinds of loser-ass jobs, especially people doing jobs they hate, and bragging about it. This is just a coping, okay? There is no virtue in wasting your life doing something you hate. Of course, everything that I say is going to be tailored up to you as an individual, which means if you have a job that you really love, and you're one of those people who were woke when they were young, or they were like you, or they had a good family, by all means, keep your job. But you should always set aside other streams of income for, I don't know, times that they're going to be less lucky. And if it's something that you're good at, consider learning and eventually starting up your own business. One thing that I fully and extremely support is being an intern somewhere. If you are doing something in college, or if you are interested in a job, being an intern is going to give you an insight on what's truly going on that no college education can give you. And I say that having been an intern in many jobs myself, and I was horrified to see how different it was, the job, from the stupid, disconnected from reality shit they taught us in college. Okay, so if you're interested in a business and you can try to work somewhere for 6 months, for a year, for 4 months with a paycheck, you're not going to be a free intern, by all means try it. After your internship, there is going to be a pretty high chance you will not want to be in that job anymore. Trust me. Or you will not want to work with specific people, and your perspective is going to be much, much smarter. Now, Findom and Paypigs and Cashcows. There are many Paypigs who unfortunately overlap with Cashcows. There are people that they are the ones that you see scammed in Findom and BDSM over and over. By scammed, I mean there is a more ethical way to do Findom and BDSM and sex work, and there is an unethical way. And by ethical and unethical, I'm not saying that you're going to go to hell because you're stripping for men online. I'm saying that women, there is a very big percentage of women, but also men too, who actually try to get money from pay big slash cash cows by promising them that they're going to meet them in real life, that maybe they're going to date them in real life, and so on, when they're so sure this is never going to happen. I saw a documentary recently about a cam girl from Australia that she was having a client, a guy. Actually, no, I'm sorry. The cam girl was not from Australia. She was from the United States, and the guy was from Australia. And they were having some kind of online relationship for 4 years. And eventually he bought her a ticket to go to Australia and visit him. And pretty much he was treating that as an online relationship, when for her it was purely work. And she was also married, and her husband knew about that, and he was fine with it because her husband didn't seem to have a job. He was pretty much surviving off of the money she was getting from this naive guy and some other naive guys. So what happens is he tells all of his friends, the same way that an online girlfriend would come to visit you long distance, and she's going over there, and the first red flag is that she stays in a hotel the first day, supposedly to wash herself and doll herself up, and then she ends up staying in the hotel the entire time. They never have sex, they never even act as a couple. He acts like some kind of desperate tourist guide, and at the end she's going back, she's saying to him, I'm not this type of girl to do a one-on-one show in real life, and she leaves after she has scammed thousands of dollars out of him, and he's left heartbroken, ridiculed, and with blue balls. So my point is, you are not going to be this type of person if you want to be successful. And the next characteristic that Cashcows have is they are blue-pilled and disconnected from reality. If you don't know what blue pill is, it refers to all the Disney shit we have been taught from our parents, most of us, and reality doesn't work this way. What I mean, looks matter in life, okay? Looks matter more than almost anything. For me, I believe that IQ is more important than looks, because if you have IQ and you can make money, you can fix yourself from top to bottom with plastic surgery. But the thing about looks is that it can open to you many, many doors that you cannot have otherwise. And I'm so mad to see people being lied to all the time, even adults lying to other adults. I see Asian guys from the groups saying to women that I don't have a type, looks don't matter, I would date any white girl, and then you see them dating all the Russian girls and the Ukrainian girls, and you see fat, old, ugly girls not dating anyone. Of course, that contradicts with what I said, that women cannot be incels, but women are incels when they don't lower their standards. So don't believe that people are going to date you because you have a golden heart, or because you have a beautiful inner world, or something like that. If a short dude comes to me and says, are you going to date me because I have inner height? I'm going to say this doesn't make any sense. So if a super ugly person comes to me and says, are you going to date me because I have inner beauty? That also doesn't make any sense. I got a hate mail recently from someone who said, are all the men you date CEOs? How dare you say that you don't date men who call another man a boss? No, I haven't only dated CEOs, but all the men I date are self-employed. Because if you are a cash cow, if you are calling another man a boss and you're proud and you're going to come to date me and you're going to come to talk to me about your job with pride, I understand that our mentalities are so far apart that this relationship is doomed ever since the beginning, okay? It's different to be a freelancer, to take jobs from people and work with them, and it's different to have a desk job and go day in and day out to be a proud cash cow and a proud wage slave. And I also call them cack slaves because you allow another man to pretty much cack you in every area of life. And I'm not referring to cuckold fetish that is consensual, I'm referring to being treated as someone worth exploiting, okay? Don't do that to yourself. A job should be something that either you like, or a means to an end to make money to survive now while working on your business, or something that you want to learn to eventually open your own business. Those are acceptable ways to have a job, for me at least. And I'm sorry if I have too high standards for men and you cannot match them. You can try to insult me, you can try whatever you want to say about me. At the end of the day, I make my own money, I do whatever I want, and you're just a cack slave. I'm going to be blocking all of those hate comments, and you're not even going to have an opinion, you know? My channel is blackpilled, it's not a democracy. What I say goes. But okay, let's not make it into a hating type of video. Let's sum it up. How to stop being a cash cow. First of all, Identify what kind of areas are you spending in because you have been brainwashed that it's cool to spend in those areas, but they contribute nothing into your life and instead set you back. Example, you don't have a lot of money. You're not going to buy junk food from outside. You're going to start cooking at home your own food that is going to be much healthier. If you don't know how to cook, that's totally understandable. We live in the era of internet and YouTube. Plenty of recipes for beginners that have 2 left legs instead of arms for you to start. I'm so sick of seeing people having $20 that they got from somewhere and they buy a large pizza. If you have $20, you can buy a shit ton of protein and rice and vegetables to get you a whole week, and you're wasting them for one meal and you're fat after that meal. This stops. Number 2, you're going to identify all the people who talk shit to you to stop you from your dreams. All the people who are going to tell you you are too fat, you are too old, you don't know anything about this subject, most people fail on this subject. Those people, they are a cancer in your life and they need to be caught. I'm going to make a separate video about them, but from now on, whatever you want to do, you're not going to tell them. You're not going to tell people who are going to be unsupportive. Number 3, you're going to evaluate your current job. If you don't have a job, you're going to need to temporarily get a job until you make enough money to invest in something that is worth pursuing. Something that you like, something that actually is useful to people. And by useful to people, I mean something that is going to bring you customers and something that you can actually see yourself working many hours every day on. 9 to 5 jobs are for losers. True entrepreneurs, true people who are going to make money, they know that the job never stops. But when you are your own boss, that's not a problem, okay? And thing number 4, and most important, you are going to respect yourself. By respecting yourself, this is something that I came to realize at a much older age than I should have. It's a very simple rule and it can make a great difference. When something feels wrong for you, don't do it. I wish someone had emphasized that to me when I was like 14 or 15. It would have saved me from so many problems. You don't even need to know why. Listen to your gut instinct. If something feels wrong, don't do it. Or before you do it, give it 24 hours, sleep on it, think about it. I always get hate, but my channel is do what works for you. And it's very stupid to think that the same life script is going to work for all the people. Not all people are made and cut off to be parents. Not all people are into monogamy. Not all people are into buying a house and staying into one place for the rest of their lives. So don't feel bad if something is really popular and it doesn't speak to you, it makes you unhappy. That's totally fine, and it's time we start emphasizing a lot on that. It's totally fine to be mentally ill. Personally, I'm done trying to manage my mental illnesses to cater to my life. I'm managing my life to cater to my mental illnesses. And it has created a huge difference on how much happier I am. You don't need to just abuse yourself and take medication and not eat and self-harm and tolerate toxic people just to fit yourself on the life script. The life script is very, very overrated. It's created by a society to cater to society and to cater to the banks, not to you personally. No one gives a fuck about us personally. We're just disposable to them. And by them, interpret it any way you want. It could be from your government to your father or your mother who just want to see you married to get narcissistic supply from that. That when you're being asked, you are being told, oh, my son is married and he has 2 kids and look at how great he's going. Stop trying to catch up with the neighbors, catch up with what's popular, catch up with what's going on around you and people tell you that you should be wanting. Okay, and start thinking for yourselves. Thank you for watching.